Welcome back in. Well, many people struggle with their weight. They don't know the steps to take or even the right method to consider before embarking on a weight loss journey. And that's where Christine Trimpe comes in. She's a transformative wellness leader dedicated to empowering professional Christian women to reclaim their health and vitality through her faith-based holistic approach to weight loss.
And here to share more about her experience and what she can do to help is wellness leader Christine Trimpe. Thank you so much for coming in today, Christine.
Thank you for having me. I'm so thrilled to be here.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's really interesting because you talk a lot about breaking away from sugar, right? In your book, and you have a new book.
That's a tough breakaway.
It is. How do people do it? Because I know I struggle with it.
Yes, we all do.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, sugar is highly addictive.
Oh, yes.
And it is in our food environment everywhere. Think about the grocery store. How many aisles are filled with sugar-laden foods, right?
Yes.
So, but it is a journey worth taking. We can crush those sugar cravings. We can quiet the food noise. For people like me, a recovering food and sugar addict, I live in what I now call food serenity. It is possible.
Food serenity. I like the sound of that.
Too.
Well, let's talk about some of those negative impacts on our bodies that sugar can rot on us.
Yeah, so first I want to give everybody hope that this is not entirely your fault. Again, it goes back to the food environment that we live in. But the truth about sugar is that it does fuel inflammation, it fuels weight gain, and it drives disease. Personally, I struggled with prediabetes, fatty liver disease, not to mention chronic exhaustion. I was overweight for 30 years, eventually ending up being diagnosed as morbidly obese. It was morbid hearing that from the doctor.
That's a tough word to take.
Yeah, it is. But yes, I realized that I was enslaved to sugar addiction and carbohydrate cravings all day long because my brain wanted that constant reward. But when I began stepping out on my quitting sugar journey, I was able to quiet that noise and I was able to break up with sugar. And that's why I wrote the Sugarfreed book. That's why I do the Sugarfreed coaching, because it is possible to live in this freedom. The emphasis is on freed and sugar-freed.
So how does your approach really differ from other different types of diets out there?
Yeah, so for 30 years I tried dieting. I tried all the man-made ways of dieting, but Sugarfreed is not just a diet book. It's actually a freedom book. Diets are so restrictive, but when I learned that I could clean up the sugar out of what I was putting in my mouth every day, there is a whole smorgasbord of food that I call God's good smorgasbord that it doesn't require a label because there's no hidden sugars in it, right? So I'm eating from the perimeter of my grocery store and it really is truly satisfying. But most importantly for me, this was a faith-based journey. It was a deep daily surrender of showing up and finally submitting my struggles to God and saying, I can't do this alone, because I tried that for 30 years. So that's where the hope comes in from Sugarfreed. It's a faith-based book with lots of biblical application and lots of biblical truths.
Well, let's talk about the book too. What are readers in store for? Your personal journey and kind of laying out a plan for others as well.
Yeah, I share my personal story, and I've had the absolute delight of sharing the stories of 6 other women that I've had the honor to coach. They were gracious enough to share their stories in there. But from the moment I couldn't climb a mountain 10 years ago, and I came home with a new resolve in my heart, I look back on my journey and I set up the book in the 4 sections of my journey that are going to help the readers. I resolved it. I got real with my health. I knew where I was. And then I talk about restoring our body. And then I talk about renewing our mind, which is really the most difficult part of the journey.
Oh, yes, it is.
And then redeeming our spiritual walk. I never knew that there was a way to eat to honor my body, that my body could heal itself, and that I could just step out. And instead of striving in diet after diet, I began living and began thriving. And so I take the reader through all of that.
It's very inspiring.
Incredible. So how do people get their hands on the book?
Okay, so my book is on Amazon, but I also have a whole webpage on my website, ChristineTrimpe.com. And you can find Sugarfreed on there. You can find my Sugarfreed coaching as well. And also there's a free chapter on my website. In the top right-hand corner, they can grab a chapter called Craving All the Wrong Things, and they can learn if they are craving all the wrong things in their body, mind, and spirit, and it will just give them a taste of living the sugar-free lifestyle.
I love it.
I love this too, Christine. Thank
Yes.
you so much
Thank
for
you,
coming
Christine.
in.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your weight loss
Thank
too,
you.
because it's very difficult. Lots
Yes.
of people struggle with
Oh,
it.
and
So.
Yes.
the inflammation factor is,
Oh,
is
yes.
real
Yes.
as well.
Yes,
We know
Oh,
this.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
You wake up chronically exhausted every day. I did that for 30 years. And
Yes.
I mean, it is so amazing to wake up with energy to spare every day.
That's awesome.
This is going to
Yes.
help a lot of people. Thank
Yes.
you again for
Thank
stopping by.
you
We
for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
Happy for you and happy that
Yes.
you're helping others.
Yes.
Appreciate
So excited
that.
for my clients. Yes.
Back after this. Stick around.